Both Russia and the Syrian opposition register violations to the Syrian ceasefire, while Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu says any future deal must stop Iranian aggression via Syria. Reformists in Tehran are set to take all 30 parliamentary seats in their district, with 90% of the votes counted. And Hillary Clinton reaffirms her status as the Democratic frontrunner in the South Carolina primary. Good afternoon and thanks for joining us at i24News. I'm Tjong Alfares. The Russian Coordination Center said it had registered 9 violations to the ceasefire in Syria over the past 24 hours, though the cessation of hostilities agreed as part of a U.S.-Russian plan was holding in general. The Syrian opposition, meanwhile, said the truce had been broken by the Syrian regime and its allies 15 times on Saturday. Reports of violations came from Damascus, Latakia, and Aleppo province. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu welcomed the ceasefire in remarks at his weekly cabinet meeting today, but he warned that any future agreement would have to include a stop to Iranian aggression against Israel via Syria.
We welcome the efforts to achieve a stable, long-term and real ceasefire in Syria. Anything which can help to stop the awful slaughter there is important, first and foremost humanitarian-wise. But at the same time, it is important to make it clear that any future agreement in Syria must include a stop to the Iranian aggression towards Israel from Syrian territory. We will not allow advanced weapons supply to Hezbollah from Syria to Lebanon. We will not allow the formation of a second front of terror in the Golan Heights. These were and still are Israel's red lines.
We were joined earlier on the phone by Amir Oren, defense analyst at Israeli daily Haaretz, to discuss Israel's concern over the ongoing Syrian crisis.
The civil war in Syria is potentially very dangerous to Israel because it is threatening the Hashemite Kingdom of Jordan, which is Israel's security partner. But there are other levels. One was mentioned by Netanyahu, the Iranian activity in Syria, and he indicated that if Israel is attacked or if plots are hatched from within Syria against Israel, Israel will respond. If Syria is indeed stabilized under a joint American-Russian condominium, then one can conceivably see a return to Syrian demands for the Golan Heights, for peace talks in which Israel would be asked, including by the United States, under certain conditions, to return the Golan Heights to Syria.
Iranians have gone to the polls in the first major elections since the signing of the nuclear deal with the West. Reformists and moderates are on course to come up the big winners over their hardline anti-Western rivals. i24News reporter Tamara Ziv has more.
President Hassan Rouhani has won a resounding vote of confidence, and reformist allies won all of Tehran's parliamentary seats after 90% of the votes were counted, Iranian state TV reported Sunday morning. Tens of millions of Iranians thronged polling stations on Friday for a twin vote for the 290-seat parliament and the 88-member Assembly of Experts, which selects the country's highest authority, the supreme leader. President Rouhani's reformist allies made gains in the races for parliament and the assembly, both in the hands of anti-Western hardliners, for years. Rouhani and key ally and former president Akbar Hashemi Rafsanjani were leading the race for the Assembly of Experts with most votes counted and appear to be sure of winning seats. The outcome of these elections could speed up Iran's post-sanctions opening to the world, a process which is already well underway and was progressing even as votes were being counted, as Rouhani met with visiting Swiss President Johann Schneider-Ammann in Tehran. The leaders agreed on a roadmap for relaunching business, financial, human rights and justice dialogues. Foreign business delegations have flocked to Tehran since the United States, European Union and United Nations lifted international sanctions in January after reaching a deal to curb and monitor Iran's disputed nuclear program.
Going now to the U.S. presidential campaign trail, Hillary Clinton has won a landslide victory in the South Carolina Democratic presidential primary. With 99% of the votes counted, she beat rival Bernie Sanders by a huge margin, capturing 74% of the vote. The victory has reaffirmed her frontrunner status and is expected to boost her momentum ahead of the Super Tuesday primaries in 11 states in 2 days. ABC News has more.
tonight celebrating a crucial victory.
Thank you so much, South Carolina!
In South Carolina, Hillary Clinton gaining delegates and momentum.
And a big win here in South Carolina likely means a big win in those southern states on Super Tuesday. Bernie Sanders can continue to win some states, but if he doesn't win decisively, it's going to be nearly impossible for him to catch up.
Bernie Sanders conceding here, but insisting his campaign is far from over.
Tuesday, over 800 delegates are at stake, and we intend to win many, many of them.
Both Democrats now focusing on Super Tuesday and beyond and going after GOP frontrunner Donald Trump.
A leading candidate for president spends half his time insulting them.
We will defeat Trump because the American people do not want a president who insults Mexicans, Muslims.
Trump also the target of now relentless attacks from Marco Rubio.
Con artist. Con artist. Con artist friends. Don't let friends vote for con artists.
The insults thrown right back tonight by Trump.
I watched this lightweight Rubio, total lightweight, and little mouth on him. Bing, 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 bing.
And his new hard-hitting supporter, Chris Christie, who's right by his side now on the campaign trail.
Going now to Ireland, where Prime Minister Enda Kenny and his Fine Gael Labour coalition have lost their governing majority in the Irish elections, leaving essentially a hung parliament. But in a stunning political comeback, Fine Gael's rival, Fianna Fáil, is set to win up to 46 seats. The i24News desk has more.
An alliance between historic rivals could be on the cards for Ireland as vote counting entered its second day on Sunday. Irish Prime Minister Enda Kenny conceded defeat on Saturday following elections that saw the governing coalition punished by voters wary of austerity, leaving the Eurozone country in political limbo with no clear winner. Exit polls said Kenny's centre-far right Fine Gael captured 25 to 26% of the vote, far below the 36% it won 5 years ago, and the 30% opinion poll rating it enjoyed at the start of campaigning. With partners Labour in line to win just 7 to 8% of the ballot, the only viable option for government appeared to be a problematic alliance between Fine Gael and Fianna Fáil, whose vote the poll showed rose to 23%. The two parties are heirs to opposing sides in a civil war almost a century ago.
I suppose if that's the only way that a government can be formed, of course, we need a stable government, and hopefully whichever party gets in will pull up its socks and maintain stability,
I'm not happy with the thoughts of going in with Fine Gael. I think that would only benefit the smaller opposition parties, and that I wouldn't like to see. So I feel that maybe this might be Fianna Fáil supporting Fine Gael from the backbenches without going into coalition with them, and it being a very short-lived dial.
On the rise were independent politicians, newly formed parties, anti-austerity groups and the left-wing Sinn Féin party. The Republican Party, whose president is Gerry Adams and which was once seen as the political wing of the Irish Republican Army, have rebranded themselves as an anti-austerity force south of their power base in Northern Ireland. It now looks like they could be on course to achieve their goal of becoming the main opposition party in Ireland.
We're into a new era. We have seen in this election a seismic change in the ongoing work that we're engaged in, which is to transform and realign politics in this part of the country.
Ireland has become the fastest growing country in the Eurozone in recent years, with predicted GDP growth of 4.5% in 2016.
In entertainment now, the erotic box office hit 50 Shades of Grey led the pack on Saturday for the annual Razzie Award, honoring Hollywood's worst films. 50 Shades of Grey, based on a best-selling E.L. James novel, dominated the tongue-in-cheek awards, which are announced annually on the eve of the Oscar ceremony. Stars Jamie Dornan and Dakota Johnson took their whacks for Worst Actor and Actress, as well as Worst Screen Combo. The smash hit, which earned $571 million worldwide, also won Worst Screenplay and tied with sci-fi adventure Fantastic Four as Worst Film. Those were the latest reports. Thanks for watching.